Welcome, everyone, to Too Many Chefs, Episode 10. I am your host, Devious Dave Rose, and today's episode is on sandwiches. I've labeled it Sandwiches 101 because we will definitely be revisiting this subject in the future multiple times. We're just going to go into the basics, and even still, there really aren't many difficulties when it comes to a sandwich, but it literally is, the possibilities are endless. So I don't have a warning yet on my show, warning you that you will get hungry, but I assure you, you probably will. As always, let's start off the show by showing our gratitude and appreciation for all those that have joined us here today. We've got Bry Guy, we've got the Nine God himself, Nicky Nines, we've got the man with two first names, we've got Jay Diz, we got a few more, and obviously we've got old little Skunty watching too, because we already got 3 thumbs down. You know what? I should just quit the stream right now. 5 minutes in, just quit entirely because oh my god, I got thumbs down. Anywho, that reminds me to remind you that the Drama Diner will be opening up this afternoon. So please call in, reserve your spot in line, because I'm sure that many people will want to attend tonight's or this afternoon's festivities. So let's start off with sandwiches. Now we've discussed a little bit about sandwiches in the past, there's a lot more to this. Obviously, you may know the popular myth that created sandwiches. Oh, Jay Diz just had a cheesesteak sandwich, so I should be good. See, that's what we're going to cover probably in the next episode, because that's taking your sandwich game to the next level. Right now, we got to go with the basics, and we got to go with the introductory 101 course. So, the popular legend of the sandwich is that in 1762 England, this guy called John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, supposedly had a gambling problem or just really enjoyed gambling, and he would spend hours at a time playing. Now, according to this myth, or this legend, during one particular long binge, he'd ask the house cook to bring him something he could eat without getting up from his seat, and that he could hold in one hand so that he could hold his cards in another and not get them dirty. So, the thing is, it really wasn't, John Montagu who invented, in quotations, this. It was obviously his cook. But the reason, obviously, that's attributed to him is because as the stories of this concoction grew in these groups of the aristocracy, where, a card player now had a very clever way of keeping himself nourished while showing the rest of the aristocrats that he could continue to play, started to influence them. And as such, word started to spread around. And this then essentially became a more aristocratic type food, although we all know that basically since the beginning of history, since man has understood and known how to make bread, even unleavened bread like the Hebrews, it was always an understanding that you could sandwich the bread around anything, meats, cheeses, and that would be what we would consider a modern-day sandwich. So Montagu had actually traveled to the Mediterranean, and as we know, which will be covered in part 2, the Mediterranean, Levant, and Middle East have a common food, or at least foods that are extremely similar and just really share a different name. So whether it be gyro or shawarma, it's essentially the same concept. And those cultures have been doing that for thousands of years. So this is, the obvious truth to us is that this really is just a myth. That this is just the story that's been popularized when it comes to the romanticization of sandwiches. But logically speaking, and just using common sense, you understand that that this is something that humans have just been naturally doing. I mean, humans are very clever and creative, and they use common sense. So something like this would have been inevitable, regardless if it was the Earl of Sandwich or if it was, Johnny Chimney Sweeper. Now, I do want to go into a few final things about details in regards to sandwiches. And I thought this was really, really cool, which is why I wanted to share it with you, is that there's actual records of this, that there was a sage, a Jewish sage called Hillel the Elder, who is written to have wrapped meat from a paschal lamb and bitter herbs in soft matzah, which is flat, unleavened bread. I've never had soft matzah, unless it was in a matzah ball soup, but I mean, usually matzah is hard. But yeah, that was during Passover, in a manner of a modern wrap made with flat bread. So I guess with the soft matzah, you could sort of fold them around just like a pita. This is also very cool. Is that during the Middle Ages, basically people would eat not on plates but on what were called trenchers, basically stale bread, and this really wasn't meant for the royals to eat. This was more just for them to have something to eat on. And basically after the meal, it was soaked with food and juices of what was, in the prepared meal. And either this would be given to dogs, or it would actually be given to beggars as gifts from the wealthy and so forth. And yeah, it does have a relationship with that as well, because they would then start to sort of cut them into thin slices and then basically put butter in between them and then just eat it like that. So that essentially became a sort of sandwich. And some others would have like what's called an open face sandwich, similar to this process. So I thought that was an extremely cool little tidbit that I learned the other day. And I thought I'd share it with all those that have joined us. So, yes, I think I already commented this. Man with two first names says, oh, I love sandwiches so much. Me too. And I'll cry that from the tallest mountains. Man with two first names also says, actually, before I go on there, Bry Guy, those types of sandwiches will be discussed in part two, the fancy ones. Gold leaf and caviar and that stuff. So Man with two first names says, Dave always uploads these when I'm fasting. I feel like he does this purposely. What have I done to hurt you, Dave? Hey, man, that's your fault for fasting, man. You could be like me and just have a very fast vocabulary. Vocabulary. You fucking moron. Metabolism. Stupid Dave. But yeah, that's my secret, Captain. I'm always burning calories. So Inspector Todd's in the chat, and then we got Casey's Raw. So yeah, just a little tidbit when it comes to the history of sandwiches. But you might know that sandwiches are quite popular in America. But what's really interesting that I also learned the other day is that you won't find a recipe for a sandwich in America until about 1815. And it was actually, I found this was really cool. It was actually sort of like a precursor to the po' boy sandwich. It used, I believe, oysters. Was it oysters? Hold on, let me just look it up here. I just had this. I can't remember. But yeah, so basically they would scoop out the breadcrumbs from a little bun, put those in there, put some sauce on there, some cream, put the top back on, toast it in the oven, and that would be essentially the precursor to the po' boy. Let's see here. Also, if if you really want to, you can check out this link. This is the link to Wikipedia, and there is just a huge gallery of sandwiches. And if you're like me and like food porn, yeah, just take a look at that. Very nice. So let's see. A few more things I wanted to cover here. Oh, this is kind of cool. In the U.S., a court in Boston, Massachusetts ruled in 2006 that a sandwich includes at least 2 slices of bread. And under this definition, this court finds that the term sandwich is not commonly understood to include burritos, tacos, and quesadillas, which are typically made from a single tortilla. The issue stemmed from the question of whether a restaurant that sold burritos could move into a shopping center where another restaurant had a no-compete clause in its lease prohibiting other sandwich shops. Yeah, history is awesome. History on food is fucking awesome. And the history on sandwiches is just great. I really recommend that and we're going to cover this eventually, going into further details as to historical creations and events, because there's so much that we can cover. Now, there is one graphic here that I wanted to show you, and I believe I'm going to have to do this here, but oops. This is the conundrum matrix here. Okay, so check this out. This actually, we're gonna cover this topic again on episode 2 of sandwiches, but this is essentially what's referred to as a sandwich alignment chart. And yes, Ruben would be awesome right now, and we'll cover that. But okay, so sandwich alignment chart, and this is more philosophical, I would say, for the most part, although there's some things here that I will instantly just deny as ever being a sandwich and cannot be allowed. But it's a good way of at least looking at it. Ingredient purist, ingredient neutral, and then ingredient rebel, and then structure purist, structure neutral, and then structure rebel. So why don't you guys take a moment in the chat. Actually, you know what? Before you do that, let's, this thing exists for a fucking reason. We might as well use it. What is your sandwich alignment? Actually, that would be way too many options. Okay, well then we're not going to use the poll. I'm just going to ask you, what is your sandwich alignment? Please type that in the chat. So, well, I await some answers there. I'm just going to display a few more images here. Oh, I did have this image in here. Oh, well. Stupid diff. And every time I go into a good sandwich shop, for me, it's like, the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, where they walk into the room where it's, everything's made of food and stuff. That's what I feel like when I walk into a proper sandwich spot. Not just some little place that has, prepackaged sandwiches, but a place that stacks them up, that displays them beautifully, that are just freshly made there in front of you. Yeah, to me, it's like being a kid in a candy store. Or an adult at Bass Pro Shops. Or Cabela's. Actually, I prefer Cabela's, although now it's owned by the same company, but it's like a kid in a candy store. So back to the chat here. The man with 2 first names says, broke my last fast with a Primanti Brothers sandwich, a beer, and a 500 milligram edible. Wow. It's quite the edible. Radical Sandwich Anarchy. Here, let me just put it back because I'm not too sure if people can remember. Jade says 2 pieces of bread on a roll with meat, or a roll with meat, vegetables, and condiments in between. Now, technically, a ice cream sandwich kind of is a sandwich, but it's this is where it starts to break your brain, and like literally this is like the ancient Greek schools of philosophy where you have a bunch of people debating just existence itself. So that's why we're not going to get too bogged down on this shit because you know it would just it's a philosophical question. It really is. It really gets to that point. So back to the chat here. I like what Man with Two First Names saying. I'm going to start using the phrase. It's like Dave in a sandwich store. Absolutely. Actually, sandwich shop sounds better. Always like that sound. Sandwich shop. Will Tactics in the chat says breakfast sandwich, eggs, bacon, sriracha sauce on wheat toast. Interesting. Bagels are also quite good for breakfast sandwiches. I find I like how they've got more structure to them and denser, so that essentially if you're having either runny egg style sandwich or even if it's scrambled, it won't fully soak the bread. So there's that. Not many people identifying their sandwich alignment. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell the authorities here, so I'm not too sure what the concern is. But let's take a look at this graphic here. It's a very cool graphic. Yeah, I'll have to think of some words for that song because I could probably do something like that. But just talking about sandwiches. All right, so this graphic, these two graphics, I should say, basically describe for America the 25 most common sandwich fillings as well as the 25 most common sandwich breads. So it really gives a good breakdown as to what seems to be popular as of today. And yeah, it's just a really cool thing that we're just going to go through. Bry Guy says, grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup are always a good classic. Yes. And that actually reminds me of what an idea Nikki Nine suggested to me yesterday about comfort food. Now, the problem with that is that each culture, each group of people, regions of a fucking city have their own comfort foods, despite, literally being separated by a few miles and stuff. So, although a challenge, it is still possible, and it would probably require some interaction from people so as to provide me with that knowledge as to what would be comfort food for an Salvadorian, for example. I can tell you what it is for Argentinians, but I don't know what, is comfort food in Ecuador or in San Salvador. El Salvador, sorry. San Salvador is the city. So, yeah, we'll get to Banh Mi in a short while there, Chelsea Castillo. Will Tactics, on the straight and narrow, he's a structural purist, old-fashioned type of guy. I'm normally that way too, but I'm conflicted here. I'm conflicted, so I'm not going to spend too much time because I've busted my brain looking at that image as well, just like thinking because I love sandwiches. So I'm trying to really figure it out. Man with Two First Names says, I love multigrain bread. I like it too for the most part, but I really hate getting the fucking seeds and grains stuck in your teeth and shit. Like there's just an overabundance of that. All right, so yeah, lettuce obviously gives that nice crisp, flavor. Mayonnaise is obviously very common. Tomatoes and mustard. Now it says tomato catsup. Now I'm going to have to assume that this is probably a survey that came out of the southern part of the states, or they're just trying to push their typical standards. But it's ketchup, not catsup, you assholes. Ketchup. Sliced ham, i.e. luncheon meat. Processed cheddar or American cheese, which is the same thing. Well, I mean, consistency-wise, American cheese doesn't really taste like cheddar. Peanut butter, chicken or turkey loaf, also luncheon meat. Natural cheddar. Ground beef or patty. That's interesting. Well, I guess a sloppy Joe. That's a sandwich. Raw onions, more cheddar. People actually use hot dogs as well. People use mayonnaise-style type salad dressing. That's like Miracle Whip. That shit is disgusting, and it's fake. It's all fucking hydrogenated corn and soy oil and shit, and it's just ugh. So yeah, you guys can read the rest of them there. Pork bacon apparently not very popular in the United States, but very popular in Canada and England. And there we go for the bread, soft white roll, which I believe it was Jadiz who said that he likes that. Then it's white bread. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So the roll, not the typical sliced bread, but the roll itself is actually king in America. Very interesting. Wheat or cracked bread, or cracked wheat bread. That's interesting. And then whole wheat bread. Interesting. I like whole wheat. I guess the cracked wheat might be a little more coarse and maybe have some more grains in there. Then there's the roll hoagie submarine. So this is different from the soft white roll, I guess maybe just being smaller. The roll hoagie submarine sandwich. Those are all ubiquitous for the same type of bread. It's the sub bread. It's long, it's beautiful, delicious, and strangely enough, that doesn't seem that popular. Toasted white bread. Yeah, that could make a good sandwich, like a club sandwich and stuff. It really, and we're going to get into this, but it really depends on the fillings of the sandwich as to how the bread should complement it, not the other way around. Then wheat flour tortilla, and that's not a sandwich bread. So clearly the Latin influence on this survey has affected the results here. But rye bread, very small turnout. That's to me that's amazing because whether it be a Reuben, whether it be a pastrami sandwich, Montreal smoked meat, that literally is the best type of bread for those types of sandwiches. Slather that fucker down with some nice mustard, or depending on how strong it is, the Dijon mustard. But there's some Dijon mustards that are so fucking strong, and it's mostly Dijon mustard on the sandwich, not meat or anything else, and it's too much. I can't deal with that. But yeah, that's what I'm. Listen, Will. Mayo is not gross. You're half black, which means the other half should at least like it. And in fact, there's a lot of black people that do like mayonnaise. So how dare you? Plus, you can't make potato salad without mayonnaise. Mayo is fucking awesome. It's made from eggs. It's got great protein. And hey, your Big Mac sauce, that's got mayo in it with a little ketchup, not catsup. And yeah, there are many other things. And speaking of sandwiches, when I discovered this, and I shared this information with you guys, but I discovered this was a fucking total game changer. It literally, I was born again. Using mayonnaise instead of butter to basically prep your sandwiches, when you fry your sandwiches doing a grilled cheese, instead of butter on the outside to toast it up, use mayonnaise. Sounds weird if, you have an aversion to that sort of thing, Will. It can cause some hesitancy, but I have never, ever had better grilled cheese sandwiches than when I've used mayonnaise on the outside. Blew my fucking mind. It's a total game changer. Total game changer. So, apparently a Mexican roll, bolillo. Never tried one of those. Commercially baked biscuit. Bagel's not too popular. Toasted whole wheat bread. English muffin, also not very popular, but those are great, especially in the mornings. Or, with tea and something like that. Sourdough bread, surprisingly small number there, but it's good. It's good, and it, really does well with foods that, require rye. Potato bread, not too common. A croissant, which is one of the greatest things ever created. In fact, it was created because of the victories over the Muslim invaders in Europe. So they made a little bread in the shape of a crescent moon to basically say they won over the troops of Muhammad. And then French or Vienna roll. So, yes, Nikki, mayo on the outside. No, don't say yuck. You've never tried it before. And yes, Danimal, fries are made for dipping. And mayo is perfect for them. In fact, Belgium is the place where modern day French fries were created. And what's common in Belgium? Eating French fries with mayonnaise. It's a common thing, it's delicious, and it was the original, the OG. And yes, the French do that too, but yeah, in Belgium there's a lot of French. In fact, one of their languages is French, official languages. Jada says, mayo goes on the bread or roll if I'm making cold cut sandwiches. Can't do the mayo on things like veggies. I mean, yeah, like, I'm not suggesting using mayonnaise for dipping purposes. I'm suggesting it for filling purposes. So obviously you want to put maybe some mayonnaise on, some of your meats there, and put some mustard on as well. But I can't believe this mayo hate. I can't believe this mayo hate. And I'm not going to accept the racial narrative that black people don't like mayonnaise. I can't believe that at all. I can't believe that at all. So Danimal's also Belgian. Interesting. So, Nikki, you like the artificial crap. Miracle Whip. It's not even real. It's fake, mon. I'm going to have to make a video for you guys, and I really, really urge you for this. I mean, like, try it out. Just try it out for me, please. Just fucking get 2 slices of bread, get a slice of fucking cheese, slap that shit together, and, set your fucking pan to toast. Put a nice thin layer of mayonnaise on the outside, just like you would with butter. Grill it until it's nice and toasty, nice and brown, and I guarantee you, God will speak to you personally. Trust me. All right, so now that we've talked enough about mayonnaise, maybe I should just do an episode on mayonnaise and shame people who don't like it. Now we're going to discuss a few more types of sandwiches. So, as you'll see from this graphic, there are some sandwiches that are obviously more... My God, this is like an anti-mayo group here. All right, so this seems to be, the more common sandwiches for these countries. So you're going to see things like, what's up, Z the Reaper? You're going to see tortas, for example, common in Mexico. And you can see the ingredients in there. Avocado, meat and such. Panini, very popular amongst the Italian communities. And grilled cheese. BLT sandwiches. The club sandwich, which is a slight variation. Padina Romagnola, which looks like more of a wrap than anything else. The Reuben, which is spectacular, as Nikki Nines was reminding us in the chat. Submarine sandwich, aka hoagie, aka hero. Truly, that's one of my favorite types of sandwiches. It's the roll, it's the amount of filling, it's how it's spread out. Yeah, I love sub sandwiches. And there's a debate as to whether or not you should cut the bread through entirely, or if you should just cut a slice and then stuff it in there. That's also a very philosophical debate. Then there's the croque monsieur. And I believe that's like a Monte Cristo, or similar to Monte Cristo, which is another sandwich, which is not bad at all. There's the banh mi, Chelsea Castillo, very popular in Vietnam and around the world. I've never actually had a banh mi. I've made myself a pseudo banh mi, but I've never actually had head cheese. So I can't say I've actually had an authentic banh mi. I'm interested in trying it. Absolutely, but it's got to be authentic, actually made by Vietnamese and not just somebody who runs a banh mi shop. Then there's the po' boy, which usually has shrimp, but sometimes I believe it's oysters and some other seafood I can't remember. Roast beef sandwich is quite popular in America, and Arby's has gotten a bad reputation about that, but they've sort of improved themselves, improved their quality, and roast beef sandwich is just awesome on its own as long as you're getting a good quality sandwich. Uh, and apparently, I think this is in Portugal, francesinha. Looks like it's got some syrup on there and such. Cheesesteak sandwich, which I believe was Jay Diz was telling us he had just completed, and a Cuban sandwich. So those are more popular ones. Back to the chat here. I'm missing a lot. Yep, said hi to Z the Reapers. Shout out to Festlove. Festlove, he says, here in the South, hot chicken sandwiches the thing right now. My God, even up here, dude, even up here, there are native Canadian sort of brands, like restaurants and stuff that are coming out with a hot Nashville sandwich. We're flooded. We're fucking flooded with everybody offering a goddamn hot Tennessee sandwich. McDonald's, fucking Burger King, A&W, Popeyes. What else? What else was there the other day that I saw? Oh man, did I say Harvey's? Harvey's has it. They're just flooding the market with whatever is fucking popular. What's being talked about and stuff. It's so dumb though. Real Tactic says mayonnaise colored Benz. I push Miracle Whips. Man with Two's first name says never had Miracle Whip. Love mayo. Miracle Whip really is just salad dressing. It's creamy and white, and it's got a lot of mixed ingredients, including processed crap, which makes it taste really good, but it's artificial, and it's got a lot of hydrogenated corn oil and soy, and that is what really is bad for us. Synthetic Derangement says I'm a jogger and I love mayo. My jogger. Well, that's a good thing because mayo is really good for protein and it's healthy for you. It actually has good fats. So, I refuse to eat light mayo. I refuse to eat light mayo. It tastes different and I want my fat content. I'm skinny. And all this flapping of my gums, I'm fucking burning calories out all the time. I gotta fucking keep the weight on. Festlove also points out, before Jada says, Festlove, it's the thing everywhere, especially in the African American communities. There's something there, like Jada is. I really think I really do think there's some sort of conspiracy. We saw how fucking crazy shit got. People were getting killed for fucking chicken sandwiches. I personally believe they were purposely targeting the African American community in the United States specifically for that to occur. Is there something in the sandwiches? I don't know. I suspect so, but the advertising campaign used some very fucking Marxist style fucking brainwashing techniques. It's fucking insane. So, yeah, it's fucking. I strongly believe that that's the case, and I don't believe I'm reaching whatsoever. There's something there, and I noticed that from the get-go. Festlove also tells us something very important, is Miracle Whip is sweeter than mayo. Is a sweeter mayo. Yeah, but it's not even mayo. It's just sweeter salad dressing. Apparently, Festlove loves the Popeyes Tennessee hot chicken sandwich the most. I tried it mild, didn't really like it too much. The hype was way too big, and there wasn't anything special, to be quite honest. Jay Diz jumps in, says, not the biggest fan of Popeye's chicken sandwiches. I've had better. So have I. I mean, it really is low-tier stuff. And I prefer, like, smaller mom-and-pop shops because it's just better quality. Yeah, it'll cost you more, but, you're going to get more. Chelsea Castillo says, Dave, have you ever tried a fluffernutter? No. Now, that seems to be a very common thing in the United States. And I haven't met many Canadians who've actually tried one of those. But from my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that a fluffernutter sandwich is basically two pieces of bread with peanut butter on one end and this marshmallow style spread on the other. So, never tried that before. Apparently, they gained popularity because for some, well, people like them. But I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant on the fake marshmallow stuff. Like, I mean, I love marshmallows and all, but haven't had one in fucking ages. But I'd be willing to try it because I'd be a hypocrite if I don't. But I'd be willing to try it. It's the marshmallow stuff has me hesitant. Afternoon, Mars. Thank you for joining us. The Reaper likes meatball subs. He says meatball subs are awesome. Personally, I dislike meatball subs extremely. Personally, I don't think meatballs belong anywhere other than with spaghetti. That's it. I don't like the mess it creates. I don't like the stains of the pasta sauce. It literally just starts to fall apart and it starts to soak up all the fucking sauce that it becomes just this disgusting mess. And I find it abhorrent that people would put meatballs on a sandwich, but that's just me. Jadiz says, and they're opening all the chicken spots from the south in different markets now, like a Zaxby's, Bojangles. Oh my God. Dave, I didn't buy the hype. I'm a Chick-fil-A fan, and if I buy chicken when I'm out, it's usually the pieces, not the sandwiches for the most places. Okay, interesting. Still haven't tried Chick-fil-A here. There's only a few locations open. I know there's one in downtown Toronto, but I'm not driving to fucking the middle of downtown Toronto just to try a fucking sandwich. I don't know. I'm not a really big chicken on the bone type guy buying out. Like if I'm making it on the barbecue or making it in the oven, yep, no problem with the bones. But I don't know. I mean, like if I go out, I want something convenient, like the Earl of Sandwich. I want to be able to hold it in one hand and just fucking eat it. I don't want to fucking have to be using both hands and trying to eat, like it's, for example, that's when you eat chicken wings, right? When do I eat chicken wings? When I'm fucking watching a sporting event or something and, my concentration's entirely on the screen, watching, the sports. So my two hands are busy doing what they need to. But if I'm, busy doing other things, I got to have at least one hand ready. So that's just me. I like the convenience of the sandwich. Man with two first names says fluffernutters are yummy. Festlove says also, DDR, need your take on if you consider a hot dog a sandwich. I do not. I do not consider a hot dog a sandwich. That was something that we were discussing earlier with the sandwich alignment image, and that was listed on there. But I actually refuse to accept a hot dog as a sandwich. Now, a very interesting comment by Danimal. Mary Brown's is better than Popeyes. Mary Brown's is essentially our domestic equivalent of Popeyes. It's Canadian made, and it's, a chicken spot. So imagine Popeyes, but Canadian. That's Mary Brown's. Apparently, they're extremely good. I've never had a chance to try them. I've seen their locations around quite a fair bit. But the word has it that this chicken is probably Canada's best chicken. I've seen several of these polls and such, and I mean, when asked of Canadians compared to all the rest of them, what's your favorite? Mary Brown's always seems to win. So I think that's a really cool little thing there. Jay Diz confirms what we all know. Well, yeah, anything is better when you cook it. So I get that. It's also the convenience factor, I don't want to spend like a lot of time out eating, a simple, 10, 15-minute meal inside sitting down or outside on a patio or something. But like, I don't want to spend a couple of hours just fucking around. Veslov says, agree with the assessment as well. Okay. So let's take a look at this image here on the right. Obviously, there's a lot more sandwiches than there on the left. And, it's quite a variety here. Unfortunately, the graphic is not as sharp as it could be. It's an older graphic. Looks more like 50s and 60s cookbook. But there's some really cool sandwiches in here. Pulled pork sandwich, which we haven't really discussed. Bacon, egg, and cheese, which I believe Will Tactics was indicating he likes. Got that meatball sandwich, the cubano. There's the croque monsieur, croque madame, which is a slight variation. Reuben, gyro, po' boy, caprese, which are good. Bocadillo. Liverwurst sandwich. I love liverwurst. Liverwurst. And cucumber tea sandwiches. Those are actually quite good. Bologna sandwiches. Absolute classic for kids everywhere. Chicken salad sandwich. Those are extremely refreshing, especially during the summer. Ham and cheese. Just really easy and, really refreshing. Monte Cristo. Bagel with lox, which aren't bad. And obviously the classic peanut butter and jam. Chad actually says nothing beats a good cubano. They're quite good actually, and even their basic staple there, the jamón y queso sandwich. So it's basically just ham and cheese. Simple, filling, and good. Tactics says, I went to a concert in Nashville 3 years ago. Nashville Chicken and Waffles was right next to the venue. Best chicken I ever had. That sounds delicious. Now, the next images that we're going to show here. More popular. Oh, that's why. Okay, well. To show one of them. So this, according to another survey, are the most popular sandwiches in America. And I think this actually is based on region. So even the pollsters, aren't getting the exact measurements. But apparently, according to this survey, which is made in 2019, grilled cheese by 79% is the most popular sandwich in America. I find that a little strange. I would have thought an actual deli sandwich of some sort would have been more common. But, hey, grilled cheese definitely food for kings and emperors. And yes, it is perfect comfort food. Grilled cheese and a tomato soup. Oof, I had that the other day actually. And I used mayo for the outside of the grilling. And it came out godly. Then 75% for a grilled chicken. 75% for a turkey sandwich. Then followed by roast beef, ham, a BLT, club, a bacon sandwich. Those were quite popular during World War II, but also very popular currently, still today, in Canada. Although this is a slight variation. This is a regular rasher bacon. Basically, the proper way of referring to bacon strips is rashers. So when Americans say bacon, what they should be saying is bacon rashers. Or bacon. When they say bacon strips, they should be saying bacon rashers. But regardless, that is popular up here. But up here also, you have the pea meal bacon, which is a very traditional Canadian thing and a Canadian invention. And yeah, that's you can find that here in Canada as well. Then peanut butter and jelly, a timely classic, or a timeless classic, I should say. Pulled pork, very, very delicious, and also obviously very popular in the South. Tuna sandwich, one of my favorite sandwiches of all time. Unfortunately, it looks like for Subway, there is questions as to whether or not they actually use tuna in their tuna sandwiches. So right now, there's a lot of investigations going on in there. And then egg salad, also one of my favorite sandwiches of all time. If you don't like egg salad sandwich, there's something wrong with you. Then there's a meatball sandwich, also something that I reject. But hey, if that's what floats your boat, you know. Then a Reuben, which surprises me. That should be way up on the list. And then, strangely enough, French dip bread, or French dip sandwich, which I thought would have been way up there. I thought that would have probably beat roast beef. That's a very popular sandwich in the United States and Canada. And yeah, it's just really good. Well, Nikki, I warned you, okay? I warned you that you were going to get hungry. And, you know, I haven't put an advisory at the beginning of the show yet, but come on, you guys know what you're fucking dealing with here. You know what's going to happen when you come watch a Too Many Chefs show. Nikki says, grilled cheese. Hold on, before then. Jada says, I love grilled cheese, very easy to cook. Yes. Chad says, is a sandwich truly a sandwich if it is open face with one slice of bread? We're going to have to discuss that episode 2 because that is more philosophical content, because in that episode we're going to be talking about open face sandwiches, specifically beef and roast beef and all those other ones. So, yeah. Or hamburger, you know, open-faced hamburger sandwich, open-faced roast beef sandwiches. So the turkey sandwiches, that's episode 2, because that's now we're getting into some real crazy ground. Nikki 9 says grilled cheese is a comfort food. Yeah. Jay Diz confirms it's convenient. It is. Nikki says nothing like a grilled cheese with fresh made bread and some good quality cheese. Yes, the cheese makes all the difference, as obviously does the bread, but there's no comparison between that crap that Kraft sells and pretends it's cheese. You know, the one that's just as plastic as the plastic that has it wrapped in. Yeah, that stuff. American cheese. Fuck. And yeah, some good bread. And Nick has told me that he's made quite a lot of bread himself. I have yet to do his recipe, which he gave me, and I do got to get on top of that because I'm actually running out of bread. But yeah, he knows the score when it comes to fresh bread being an equalizer. Man with 2 first names says peanut butter and jelly is so good. It's not bad, but I mean, maybe as an after dinner snack, maybe a post workout snack, maybe as a I don't know, a 3 p.m. work snack or something, but I don't want to be having that at lunchtime. I want, you know, grown-up food. It's not that it's bad. It's just that, I mean, for example, for breakfast, I might have a slice of toast with peanut butter on it, but I'm not really interested in having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And actually, that would be something else we should discuss is what do you prefer, peanut butter jelly or peanut butter and jam? And there is a big difference between the two. Personally, I prefer jam. Don't really find it very often with what's called pectin. And jelly just seems very congealed. It doesn't spread properly. It's lumpy. That's why I prefer jam over jelly. But that is something that would be a very good debate topic as well. Back to the chat here. Excuse me. I love an open... Chat says, I love an open-faced Reuben. Gotta steam that corned beef on top of the sauerkraut. Sounds delicious. Oh, fuck. Me drink. Drop me drink. Well, thankfully, this is a new keyboard, which is actually waterproof. So, unlike my fuck-up from last time, which had me using 2 different keyboards at the same time because they were both fucked, now I don't have to worry about that. But I will have to clean up the spillage here. Fucking fruit punch. It's gonna be all sticky, but okay. It happens, my friends. It happens. Just bear with me here. And knowing my stupidity, how about 2 of these? So if this one even fails, I got a backup in my closet. So, just about ready. And yes, you can laugh at me. Yes, you can. I got very excited talking about sandwiches. And I paid the price for it. I'm going to have to clean this later. This fucking keyboard's going to be sticky. That's all the fucking sugar in this punch crap. But at least it tastes good. Alright, so. Back to the chat here. All right, so now I got to catch up to where I fucking left off. So, Danimal says, if you've never tried peanut butter and jelly chicken wings, do it. You won't be disappointed. Interesting. Now, Danimal, I need some more details on that because despite how shocking that sounds, I'm open-minded. So, interesting. Do you make them yourself? Is there a place that actually offers them? I'm curious as to finding out how you tried those before and what your experience was with that, flavor wise and so forth. Jadiz says allergic to peanuts and peanut butter, so I was a jelly sandwich kid. Ugh, that sucks. You may have well, sometimes you can actually regain. You can actually in adult years you can actually drop off that allergy. Your body has been able to essentially protect itself from, an allergic reaction. So although you may have been allergic in the past, it might have diminished. Obviously, check with your doctor. But I know a lot of people who were allergic as kids of peanut butter, and this directly relates to the use of sunscreen, because as it's coming out now, sunscreen actually was causing the cancer and the allergic reactions, as well as the vaccines that they were using. They used actual, there was something from a peanut plant, and they used it in the vaccine, and all these people now have peanut allergies. I wonder why. But yeah, check that out, because a lot of people eventually can go back to eating peanut butter again. So let's see here. Back in the chat, we got Jake Bars, who loves the Reuben. Says it's superior to everything, I guess, because he left it blank. So it must be everything. Z the Reaper says, grilled cheese turkey clubs and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. My kids love that stuff. Sounds good. Jake Barr says, strawberry preserves because I'm a fat fuck. Well, those are delicious. Jada says, even as an adult, Dave still the same. Oh, that fucking sucks, dude. Is it all nuts or is it just peanuts? Because you can get almond butter. You can get... what else? I believe pistachio nut butter. And there's even like stuff that's, I don't know what, it's made for kids with allergies, I've seen the packages in the stores. Danimal says, yes, there's a pub locally that makes them, but they're basically deep fried and breaded with peanut butter and jelly applied after they are fried. Okay, interesting. So I guess it's a savory, salty, and sweet combination. See, we might initially scoff at that, but what about honey garlic wings? It's basically coated in fucking sugar. So, well, I'm going to have to investigate this further. As shocking as it sounds, I'm also extremely intrigued and curious. And if I ever had the opportunity, I would at least try it out. Because that's my policy always. At least twice, try it. Because the first time around, you might just have been in a bad mood. Maybe you didn't get your mouth washed out properly from the previous meal. So at least twice, I want to try something to see whether or not I like it. Oh, damn. Jada says, everything, Dave. Even can't take the smell of roasted nuts. Now that fucking sucks. That fucking really sucks. Sounds like it's a pretty severe reaction. Which is terrible because nuts are so good. Pistachio nuts, oh my god, they're so fucking good. Peanuts are good. Almonds are good. Pecans. Yeah, it's really unfortunate, bud, that you're missing out on that because, yeah, I'm nuts. Let's get nuts. And, we already reviewed this from another graphic, so we'll move on. Well, we've talked, obviously, about bread. And, the type of bread that you choose should actually be chosen based on what the filling is and not vice versa. But they're intrinsically combined. Um, Jada says, at least I can eat seafood. Well, that's a good thing. Um, so yeah, so bread, extremely important. We talked a little bit earlier about that, the types of bread, sliced, loaf, sub, hoagie, hero. Um, it could be a round loaf, could be flat. Um, yeah, multigrain, white. We went through this, but that's also something that I really enjoy when it comes to going to a sandwich shop. Is not only do you see a plethora of all these great fresh ingredients, but you smell all that great freshly baked bread. And knowing that it's freshly baked, you know that how you add it, to your fillings is just going to complement it even further. And it really makes the whole process and experience enjoyable because again, there's so many different combinations when it comes to sandwiches that the bread can be several different types, and you could use the same ingredients and use four different types of bread, and each sandwich will come out slightly different. So yeah, that's a great joy for me when it comes to sandwiches is the bread itself, the freshness of it, the taste of it, how it complements the fillings, and just bread is obviously one of the greatest inventions ever made. As you can see here from this image, we have four different types of sandwiches and four different types of bread being used. A roll, sliced, looks like calabrese. You have whole wheat sliced, and then you have what appears to be a bun or a potential roll. I call buns, buns are more round to me than rolls, which are longer. But yeah, four different types right there. And yeah, the joys that I get from trying to figure out what I want in my sandwich and the type of bread and its garnishings. It's so much fun and it's so pleasurable. And here are some different sandwiches here. You're going to notice the one in the bottom left corner. Some looks like either mozzarella or bocconcini. Simple Italian style sandwich there. You have what appears to be tuna on the upper right, tomato in the left, and I can't really identify what's in the bottom right. Sorry, egg salad in the upper left, and I don't know what's in the lower right. But that's, just showing you that, one type of bread can hold all different sorts of fillings in there. And obviously not just the appearance changes, but the flavors change. And, something like this, for example, this to me looks like a perfect sandwich. Could be tuna, could be chicken salad in there, a nice, hearty, thick sliced, grainy type bread with a nice layer of lettuce and some fresh tomatoes and some it appears to be cheese. That looks so good. So fucking good. Apparently Chad says, call me a baby, but I still eat a peanut butter and banana sandwich any day of the week. No, it's not that... okay, well, that's also very good. Peanut butter and banana, fucking awesome. It's not like dropping everything to eat one of those sandwiches is a bad thing. What I'm saying is that if you, a grown man, are making your lunch for the next day at work and you're saying, I've got this delicious leftover roast beef that I made for today's meal, and I could make myself a badass fucking roll for tomorrow's lunch, or I can make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a peanut butter and banana sandwich, then there's a problem, is what I'm saying. Is that there's a time and place for, to me, I like having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or jam sandwiches, actually, after dinner, like as a dessert, as a snack. Not immediately after. Sometimes I just wait, digest, and I'll have that with an apple and some honey. And it's again, like I said, it's great for post workout. Um, but it's not something that, like, if I'm going to go on a date with someone, if I'm going to go on take somebody out on a picnic, I'm not packing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Maybe if there's kids or something, maybe. But to me, lunch has to be grown up food. Sorry. I mean, I'm using harsh words here, but I do see peanut butter and jelly and jam as a juvenile type sandwich, only because it's so popular with kids. But I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that it has its time and place. You certainly wouldn't eat that at dinner. But you could eat a sub at dinner, right? See what I'm saying? All right, so check this out now, okay? This is just sort of like a little bit of a taste as to what you would see on episode 2 of Sandwiches. But this particular graphic goes to show that sky's the limit when it actually, in fact, there's no limit when it comes to sandwiches. None. You can be creative, but you can also literally drop kick your taste buds with awesomeness. This is a chicken salad sandwich. It has cranberries in there. It has celery in there, lettuce, and obviously a little bit of mayo and stuff. I can assure you that these types of sandwiches are spectacular. Some might immediately dismiss it because it has cranberries in there, and they would think that that added sweetness, which it's not really sweet, they're tart, takes away from the sandwiches or makes it some sort of like hipster stuff. No, 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 no. This stuff is good. And when you learn flavor combinations, you can make anything possible. There is no limit. And yes, I've tried this in sandwiches form and in salad form, where you have cranberries and such. And wow, what a difference! What an absolute difference cranberries make. It's really amazing. A chicken salad sandwich, yeah, that's great. You put cranberries in there, totally different sandwich. Back to the chat. Chat says, you're right, though. Nice hearty sandwich is great for mid-work lunch. Exactly. Even like as a bedtime meal, like or snack. Peanut butter sandwich, boom. And yeah, peanut butter and banana, fucking Chad knows where it's at. Just fucking great combination. As a side note, I've heard people eating bacon with chocolate. Now, yes, sounds odd, but everyone I've talked to who's actually tried it says it's really good. There's actual chefs out there that actually say, yeah, the saltiness and flavorfulness of savoriness of the bacon combines perfectly with the sweetness of chocolate. And yeah, it sounds strange, but we had Gabe Rodriguez, an actual chef here on last time, telling us that all about this that new field, and I can't remember what it's called, but the food engineering, the chemical engineering of food, really cool stuff. And yeah, that sort of thing is leading to new types of foods and creations, or at least combinations that may have not been common in the past, but really work together extremely well. So I'd recommend that people never count out trying a sandwich that might not seem 100% traditional, at least filling-wise. But when it comes to submarine sandwiches, Hoagie's, Heroes, probably my favorite. The bread itself, being able to just stuff so much inside. And the way that it's layered as well actually makes a huge difference. People might not think that, but the way that you have your sandwich made at Subway, where they layer things, and it obviously makes the sandwich look bigger, right? Because if you lay all the meat flat, that's going to be thin. But it's not just to make it look bigger. There is a difference. Just like with the way, even the angle that you cut vegetables actually affects its taste. So the way that you can layer food onto a submarine bread or roll, whatever you want to call it, definitely affects the flavor, definitely affects the taste, and actually to me enhances it. The ability to layer them in that manner, not flat. Here's another image of a delicious hoagie sub hero sandwich, and just it's covered with ingredients, and you can see those hot peppers, which really go well on deli sandwiches. If you ever had hot banana peppers on a deli sandwich, like a sub, you definitely want to try. And I am definitely trying to ensure that I am swallowing all the saliva that my mouth is producing, because you're not the only one who's hungry here, Nikki, looking at this. I always do this to myself, but I've got a lot of pain tolerance. So, yeah, this, and sometimes you go to places that really don't put much effort into the way your sandwich looks, but it just tastes delicious. So even something like this, which looks like it was just all piled on, it would taste amazing, I'm sure of it. And yeah, the contrast between the pickles and the hot peppers, the banana peppers, really do well when it comes to the flavoring. Doesn't make it too overwhelmingly spicy or anything. Here's another very sexy looking sandwich. And you can see some good quality actual cheddar cheese on there. Not that garbage fucking American cheese. And yeah, just some beautiful layering there. Beautiful layering. Definitely a reason why Subway calls them their artisans, I believe. And here we have two examples of what I was referring to, is that there are two ways, supposedly, to cut, or actually, well, there are currently two ways that we know of, but this is a source of contention and debate. Do you cut the bread through entirely on a on a submarine sandwich bread loaf, or do you only cut halfway through and then basically stuff it in there and wrap it, as we see on the left here? So in the chat, actually, I'm gonna do this as a poll. Actually, there's not enough people to do a poll. Whatever, just send me your interest there in the chat. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think that a bread should be cut entirely through to make a sub sandwich? Or do you think it should only be cut and essentially like angel wings, just to spread open and to put that in there? That is definitely a source of debate and contention, but I would love to know your opinion on the matter. It's definitely something that I do ponder from time to time. You know what? It depends. I honestly think it depends. It depends on how much there's in there, because if the sandwich is so full, but it requires those ingredients, you're gonna have to cut it entirely through. You don't want this like spilling out, and you don't want it making a mess. It's like if the ingredients are so plentiful that you need to cut it in half, do it. Is it nice that you can actually have a sandwich that you only partially slice through, and that when you're eating it, you have no chance of it falling out from the other side? Yeah, that's fucking great. But if that actually causes these fillings to be crushed to the point where they're two-dimensional, you're taking away from the quality of the sandwich. You got to let the sandwich breathe. You can't constrict it. You can never control the sandwich, or it will control you. So I think that's very important. Jadiz says hoagies are cut in half. See, the thing is, though, it's all the same. Hoagies, heroes, and submarines. They're all basically the same, but it's because of the regional choices is where we see a differentiation in that. I mean, shit. Take a look in Philly, the cheese steak sandwich. You got the two big places that are known for that, and they each make them differently and use different, sort of cheeses and stuff. And that's in one fucking city. And that's, a famous sandwich. And I guess you could also consider comfort food potentially. But yeah, even in one city, you can find a huge differentiation between, a supposed classical staple that everyone makes the same. There's obviously a lot of variations. If you've never been to English High Tea, I very much recommend it. It is a good experience if you're looking to impress a girl or you have a significant other in your life who enjoys this sort of thing. I definitely would recommend that you do this. It's a great experience. You feel like royalty, and you get some really good food. Also, you can find some places that offer this with B&Bs. So, say you got a girlfriend, you guys want to take the weekend off and go do some antiquing in the country, and maybe find a B&B to fuck in. Well, there are ones there that actually have afternoon tea, and they'll serve you, and it's great stuff. And the English really took this to a next level. English high tea became something that was obviously associated with the aristocracy, but then it started to become part of the life of the middle class, and it showed prosperity, it showed wealth, showed giving, and yeah, I would suggest if you're curious on this, look into it as well. There's some very cool documentaries on how this became this big staple of their culture. Having tea for them is like an early dinner. That's how it is for them. It's weird. To me, tea is afternoon, and you have tea. But to them, it's basically like an early dinner. And as such, you would eat like an early dinner almost. So definitely recommend those finger sandwiches. Sometimes you'll find them cut into little strips. Those are called I think they're called finger. Yeah, they're finger sandwiches, tea fingers. There's a lot of different names that are used for that. Here is another sandwich that was being spoken of very highly in the chat earlier, the Reuben. And yeah, it is a spectacular sandwich, very filling. It's warm, flavorful, and if you've never tried one, it's definitely worth trying. And here's another quick image here of all different types of sandwiches, different types of breads, and different types of cuts. And for example, some people, when it comes to sliced bread sandwich, like it cut right through the middle. And you have two, sort of rectangles. Some people like to cut it across diagonally. I'm one of those people who likes it cut diagonally. The more narrow corners allow for easy insertion into the mouth and chewing. But yeah, look at this. All these different types of sandwiches, different cuts, different ingredients, and obviously how they're filled. So cut definitely will affect that as well. Let's move on to the next image here. It's feeling like 90 degrees right now here in the country. Here's a traditional Italian panini sandwich. And they can be extremely simplistic in their ingredients. Here we have basically basil, tomato, and mozzarella. Put it on a ciabatta bread, put that on a panini, press, grill it for a bit so you got some nice grill lines, just enough heat to start to get the melting going on with the cheese, and boom bada bing, you got yourself a delicious sandwich. Speaking of delicious, if you've never had a sandwich using croissant bread, you're missing out. Croissant bread is some of the greatest bread ever. It's so flaky, so buttery, so soft. A really good croissant will literally just dissolve as you're eating it. It's that good. And wow, it's been a while. It's been quite some time since I actually had a sandwich made with croissant bread, but it was just so life-changing that it's never left me. It's just one of those things that you never forget. It was that good. Just that bread just does something else. Something else. Speaking of which, in my opinion, the best breakfast sandwich in Canada is Tim Hortons croissant sausage egg cheese sandwich. Absolutely delicious. But they changed their menu slightly. So they used to have round croissants. Now they're long croissants. So the sandwich has to be like they have to cut the sausage patty in half to make it all fit, which is stupid. Used to be the perfect fucking sandwich. The perfect sandwich with the perfect bread. Alas, Tim Hortons had to, as always, change up their strategy because it wasn't working. Now we're going to move on to a very controversial aspect of this episode, is whether or not wraps or rolls are sandwiches. And that is something definitely that many people have debated in the past, but it's problematic in the sense that when you go to Subway or something, you say, I want a sandwich wrap. It's understood. Sometimes you say, I just want a wrap, but it's, I mean, technically almost the same thing. But as we heard from that previous lawsuit in Boston, well, the ruling came out because it was at least defined initially because of the use of two pieces of bread, sandwiching something together. But this is definitely something that is of an issue of contention, to say the least, something that would take us quite some time to debate, because this is, obviously we're sticking to an ingredient purist style here. When it comes to these sorts of wraps, you're going to find the typical ingredients that you would find in a regular sandwich. And yeah, these wraps are great. The thing then applies now is what kind of structure do we accept as being appropriate? You know, do we go with traditional, or are we more of the anarchist rebellion type, and not care about how it's wrapped or how it's encased? As long as it's encased, some people consider it a sandwich. So something to definitely consider because of the fact that there's a lot of implications that come from this. And like I said, it's not the ingredients that really affect it. It's the structure itself. Are we going to move away from the concept that sandwiches are basically filling encased in two pieces of bread, or are we going to accept this as being the new normal? So definitely something we will be picking up on the second episode of Sandwiches, because that's when we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, into things like a steak sandwich, into things like the Reuben, into paninis, and more non-traditional sandwiches, including the more expensive kind. A restaurant in New York City, I believe, recently released a sandwich that cost $250. So I would like to review that and really break down the sandwich itself, its ingredients, and then try to see whether or not that price is justified. Obviously, with you all here with me to determine if in fact that's the case. So I look very much forward to that episode where we will get more into detail into regards to what exactly constitutes a sandwich and what amazing concoctions out there have we either not tried or not been aware of when it comes to the land of sandwiches. And, okay, we've basically gone through just about everything I wanted to cover today in regards to sandwiches. So, if you would like to call in and perhaps make a point about your favorite sandwich or just on the topic in general, I'll stay on for another about 5 minutes or so. And then I'm going to start prepping the diner to open. So that shouldn't take too long after we complete too many chefs here. But I suspect that probably by 3:10 the diner's open. So quite a few things to discuss. But being the diner, there's more than just one person to discuss. So, hope you've made your reservations to the restaurant, got your place in line, because those spots fill up quick. So I'm going to guess that probably no one's going to call in. But hey, if if you want to, there's still a few minutes to go. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking sandwiches with you guys. It's just like Man with Two First Names. I love them a lot. I love fucking sandwiches. And yeah, it's just the limitless possibilities when it comes to creating a sandwich is the flavor of life, basically. It's you can make just about anything. And sometimes a little accident mixing two ingredients you never thought should mix end up giving you the most orgasmic type flavors. So the only way to really determine that is to actually make the effort to try it out. But yeah, I'm when it comes to the sandwich alignment, I lean towards ingredient purist. You know what? I am an ingredient purist. The problem is determining the structure. Because here's the thing. A sub sandwich is a sub sandwich. So technically, at least structural neutral. But I'm still torn about the structure rebel, because the wrap, I can't endorse that just yet. I've got to have a debate with someone to see whether or not they can convince me otherwise. But I'm not really big on the wrap in regards to being defined as a sandwich. But then we're going to have to take that to the next level. Well, what about a pita? The pita bread, wrapping and sandwiching its ingredients. In fact, you cut a pita bread open, it becomes a pocket. So that becomes a very gray area, because it sort of fits within the structure, maybe structural neutral or maybe structural rebel, but it's still much closer to the sandwich than something with a tortilla wrap. So yeah, there's quite a few layers to this, and I don't mean sandwiches. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I thought I'd just do a little one here based on the recommendations and suggestions of the Goon. And this, I forgot to mention that earlier on the show, but it was the Goon who made the suggestion of covering sandwiches. Very much appreciate the suggestion and very much enjoyed talking to you guys about it. So I will be seeing you all very soon at the Drama Diner. So if you just don't mind, please get in line and just wait till the doors are open. Should be along shortly. And yeah, we're going to start some feasting. So on that note, I hope you all have a great day and a great weekend.